And this would be Jason Seek's daughter. And this one right there, Kenna, wave your hand. That would be Ben and Missy Lenny, Ben's, Bob's nephew. That's their daughter. So there's some connections for you.
Okay. And I have a story about your teacher, Mrs. Fisher. When she was a little girl, like 2 or 3 years old, she sucked her thumb all the time. And when she came to my house and Grandma's house, I put nasty taste and stuff on that thumb. So then she didn't like that. But I think it worked because you don't see her sucking her thumb anymore, do you?
Do you guys see me at rest time?
No.
Sometimes at rest time.
It worked.
No. She did it all the time. Do you know what else she used to do? Are you going to tell a story about the book you used to read me?
No.
Okay, aren't grandmas supposed to be these nice, sweet people? Do you know what story my grandma would read me? And I stayed over there a lot. When I was a little girl and I would stay at their house, she would read me the same story every night before I went to bed. It was about a guy that came and cut off all the little kids' thumbs that sucked their thumbs. That's what my grandma did every time I stayed overnight. She really wanted me to stop sucking my thumb, didn't she?
And this is Mrs. Fisher's dad. And he's our oldest child. This is Jeff. You know him.
Best friends already.
You did?
We said that you were a farmer, so he's really excited to hear about your farming days.
So Mrs. Fisher and her two sisters used to come down to our house. He would bring them down and he would be working around the farm or in the shop or something down in there.
Logan.
Yes, and when he got ready to go home, they'd all be looking out the window and he'd forget them all the time. He'd forget he brought his girls down and they'd look out the window and they'd see him go over the hill and they'd go, yes, he forgot us again.
Do you think I would do that?
He did.
Those
And so
girls
they got
like
to
to
stay
pull
at Grandma's
tricks on
house
me.
a little longer then.
Yeah.
So that was fun for him. So let's see.
And there's Mrs. Kim.
Aren't you guys so excited? Did you get to see pictures yet?
You guys were like celebrities when I said you were coming in, Grandma.
Have fun.
So we had 10 children that went to Benton Community, and then we had 9 grandchildren that went to Benton Community. What? And now we have 3 great-grandchildren that go to Benton Community. So we know all about Benton Community. We've had kids in Benton Community for a long time.
Grandma, we counted up. If you went to one conference for every single kid, just one a year, from kindergarten to their senior year, you went to at least 130 conferences.
Oh my!
Did you guys help her count those all up?
It was something we talked about when we talked about having 10 kids.
And think that many birthday cakes too.
We did talk about what was one of Mrs. Fisher's favorite memories of my birthday. What did my mom always make me? Do you know who she got that idea from? Grandma always made a cake for each person.
Everybody that had a birthday.
We had some of those pictures over here.
So most of our kids were pretty good in school. Now once in a while they got in a little bit of trouble, and if they got in trouble at school, they got in worse trouble when they got home. But not real big bad trouble they didn't get in, but sometimes they didn't obey the rules. Do you guys have any rules in Mrs. Fisher's class? Well, who can tell me? Raise your hand. Who can tell me a rule?
That's one of our sentence rules is capital letter at the beginning of a sentence.
Beginning of a sentence.
Finger spaces and periods at the end.
What other rules do we have? What?
Stay safe.
Okay. Okay. How about you? What rules do you know?
We have to listen.
You have to listen, right? And what rule do you know?
You have to, when you go to lunchroom, if you're on red, you can't talk. If you do, you will go to the principal office and stay for a
Oh, there's consequences if you don't. Yeah, consequences if you don't obey the rules.
If you talk more, if you whisper and you talk louder, that will, then you will not, then you will go to the class. If on the unsafety zone.
Do you have a rule?
Yeah. Unsafe zone, yeah. So you don't say anybody talk.
What was the rule?
What'd you say?
Be respectful, right? Why do we have to have those rules? What would the world be like or the school be like if we didn't obey those rules?
It would be bad.
It would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah, everybody would have to go to the principal's office.
Principal's office would be full if we didn't obey the rules, wouldn't it? Why?
You think you'll get kicked out of school if you don't obey the rules? You guys break rules all the time. You're all still here. What does Mrs. Fisher say she's going to do to you? Throw you in the dumpster. Probably shouldn't have that one go in the movie. All right, listen up, listen up. Grandma's got her notes out.
Okay, Grandma's got to have her notes so you know why you obey the rules when you're there, don't you? Okay, so we had kids in Benton Community for 36 years. And they all had a good education because you've got great teachers over here at Benton Community, don't you? You bet. So, all I can say is go Bobcats! Woohoo! Right? Yeah, go Bobcats! Okay?
Did you guys know I didn't tell them how many people are in our family? Okay, and we'll set out the pictures later when Grandma's done. Do you guys know how many people are in my family?
No.
How many kids does she have?
10.
And did they all get married? Most of them did. Okay, did they all have kids? Most of them did. And guess what? I'm his kid, and I even have kids now, don't I? So think of all those people. Okay, how many people were in this book when they were married for 55 years? Remember how I said? 55 kids, right? And that was a while ago. Is it 60th this year? So that was 5 years ago.
10 years ago.
10 years ago?
10 years
Oh.
ago.
I
Oh,
had
this
wrong
is
then.
55.
Okay, I was like, whoops, I
okay,
had this
yeah.
wrong.
Sorry,
There are
5 years, you're right.
68 people in my family. And a couple years ago, we had every single person at Christmas. So what kind of house do you think that Grandma and Grandpa live in? Because all 68 people hung out there, Santa came there, we ate there. It is a big farmhouse, but they have a really big living room that we all go to. And do you know what happens when you want to sit down? Think of your living room. Is there enough seating for 68 people to sit there?
No.
So where does everybody want to sit in the living room? On the couch, right? So if you get a couch seat, you try not to get up all day long. But sometimes you gotta go to the bathroom. Sometimes you gotta eat. Sometimes you gotta go check on Aiden, who thinks he needs his mom, and I have to get off the couch. Do you think I ever get that spot back?
No.
Never do. Never do. That's one of my favorite memories. Grandma, I was just telling them a story that they said they were bored earlier because they had to come in for recess because it started raining. And what do we say about bored people in our family?
You have to scrape the paint off and then paint
Have to scrape the paint off the buildings and then paint it. And
That's
I
right.
started
Yep.
talking about the one time Mrs. Bridgewater's husband, my Uncle Tom, was with us. And my Uncle Jim. But I haven't gotten past the part where we were kind of teasing him that we were going to paint him. We'll have Grandma finish the story.
Okay, so these girls were with their paintbrushes, and they were gonna touch Uncle Tom, and he kept saying, "Don't do it! I'm telling you, don't do it!" And they finally swipe him a little bit, and all of a
A
sudden,
little tiny dot we put on him, guys. Just real tiny.
all of a sudden, he got the paintbrushes, and they were painted from one end to the other.
They held us down, my sister Tracy and I. Which one is my sister Tracy? Older one, right? They held us down and painted us from our toe all the way up to my head. And what is all over my head? Hair. Do you remember how long my hair was? Guess what was all in it? White paint.
White paint.
And guess what my grandma said? Do you think most grandmas would hug you and say, "Oh, I feel so bad for you"?
Oh, honey, oh.
Do you think that's what my grandma did?
No.
Grandma, what'd you tell me?
I said, "You've been asking for it. I told you not to mess with them.
They told you not to touch them, Kimberly.
Told you not to touch them."
So then we had to go to the shop and we had to get scrubbed from head to toe with this soap that stunk so bad. It was orange smelling. And they scrubbed our hair and they scrubbed our face. It was horrible. And then what do you think my mom said? Because then we still had to go home and show Mom. Do you think your mom would be very happy if you came in and you were white from head to toe?
Nope.
No. So we learned our lesson not to be bored anymore because we didn't want to paint buildings and not to paint our uncles at all. So you'll have to tell Mrs. Bridgewater that story. Can you guys do that?
No. No.
All right, Grandma, we've got some questions for you.